One and all from India. I really hope you all are doing well. A very warm welcome and good afternoon to our Honorable Professor Shamit Ray, Chancellor of Adams University. Good afternoon to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, Adams University. Good afternoon to our respected and Honorable Dr. Shauli Mukherjee, the convener of this international lecture series and Director of School of Education, Adams University. Good afternoon to our Honorable Dr. Prarthita Biswas, the coordinator of the session, professor and head of the Department of School of Education, Adams University, and all my respected dignitaries present over here. I, Vidisha Chakraborty, a student of School of Education, Adams University, would like to welcome you all in the 6th International Lecture Series titled Classroom Management, the Why and How. No doubt we are living in a post-pandemic period. It's a new age with a shorter space of time, multiple challenges regarding our workforce, our communities, and our economy has received a new transformation. This has generated pressure and affected people's mental well-being, and if anything, that has gathered more importance during the past one and a half year is the greater need for communication and empathy in our day-to-day lives. And being practical about it, how can we implement these behaviors in a remote working world in collaboration with continuing to deliver ambitious transformational strategies? Keeping people engaged and motivated, we continue to meet our key initiatives and priorities. Many organizations across the world has continued to do the above, and during the pandemic period, there has been significant pressures on teachers, managers, and team leaders to find the right balance between the frequency and style of communication whilst working remotely. Teachers or educators have found that increasing the frequency, in some instances, formality of communication has been a key factor of success. As regular communication reduces fear and uncertainty among learners and ensures that the intended recipients receive a clear, unified message. Management is a crucial part of any teacher's job, whether it's about time, lesson, the entire academia, or classroom. Classroom is the epicenter or the most crucial root at any educational institution. Managing a classroom is not an, I quote, easy to do theory. The goal is not to deliver lessons, get done with the syllabus. It's way more than that, where growth and development of the learner are more prioritized than textbooks and lectures. To extend this conceptual paradigm of classroom management and further elaboration, I would take the honor of inviting, on behalf of School of Education, Adams University, an eminent teacher and global peacemaker, Miss Georgia Manetta. Georgia Manetta is a state primary school teacher of English. Ma'am holds a Bachelor of Arts in English Language and Literature from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, Greece, and Masters of Arts in Literature in English from Dalarna University, Sweden. She also works as an oral assessor of English for the state certificate in Greece and other examination boards. She is a volunteer, Youth for Understanding, and a member of the executive board of the GMRT, Global Matrix Readers Theatre. She is a newly appointed ambassador of Etwinning, a European platform where schools from all over Europe cooperate on various projects. Ma'am is also interested in theater, cinema, reading, and educational technology, and likes meeting people from all over the world. But before inviting ma'am, I would kindly request the participants to mute themselves for maintaining the decorum. Also, your active participation is appreciated, and please write down your questions in the chat box for ma'am to interact in the latter half of the session. Thank you so much. Ma'am, now the platform is all yours. Over to you. Pardon for waiting you a bit longer. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello from Greece. I'm really happy that I am. I'm really happy that I'm here with you today. No worries about any inconvenience that was caused. I mean, these 2 years of the pandemic have taught us that there are always technical glitches, and we have to be well prepared and in good mood in order, to overcome them. Before actually starting my presentation, which I assure you it's short and to the point, I hope, and then I can take questions if there are any. I would like to put a link in the chat. There are 2 questions that you are asked to answer. You can answer and no names will appear. They are anonymous. So if you click on this link, there will be one slide which asks you what classroom management means to you. And you can add up to 5 words that describe classroom management for you. And then we have another question asking you why we need a well-managed classroom. So let me, while I'm waiting for you to, okay, let me share my screen. Can you see this, the link?
Yes, ma'am, the link is visible.
Okay, all right. So I'm sharing my screen now. Let's see the first question. What does classroom management mean to you? Let's see what people believe. There no names will appear, so you don't have to worry about this. Just words that will appear now, and then I will move on to the second question. Let me try to refresh in case that someone has answered. I see that the attendants are a bit shy. I can assure you that nothing will be visible in case of in terms of names or So I just want to see what your views on classroom management are.
I kindly request the participants to please interact in the session. Please, thank you.
But I have to wait a bit since if I go to the second question, you won't be able to answer to the first one. However, if you don't want to, I can go on with the presentation. It's up to you. Ms. Pitisa, what do you think?
Sure, ma'am. You can continue. No issue. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
so
okay, ma'am.
I'll stop sharing my screen then.
No, okay. I think it's are you facing any technical glitch, ma'am? Ma'am?
What do you mean? No. I said if you want me, I can go on with the presentation so that I won't ask
Yes,
the
ma'am.
participants
Sure.
to. Okay.
Okay, no issue. Okay, you can continue, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
All right. So I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'll move on to the presentation. Maybe later we can, okay, I have an answer. Okay, I won't share the results yet. Someone said that classroom management means to maintain class decorum. It's a good one. This is a nice one. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen now with the presentation. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
All right. So today we have gathered here to talk about classroom management, the how and the why. And although Ms. Bidisha has said some things about me, let me introduce myself again. So I'm Georgia. I come from Greece. I'm a state primary school teacher of English, and actually this year I have started teaching in 3 kindergartens as well. which was quite challenging because it was the first time I had to deal with 4 and 5-year-olds. Anyway, I also consider myself a lover of web tools, and I try to use them as much as possible during my teaching online and in the physical classroom. I'm a constant learner. I believe that you never stop learning. If you want to get better as a person and as a professional, you always have to learn things, attend seminars and professional development courses. And let's move on.
Absolutely agree with you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So in simple words, classroom management refers to the wide variety of skills and techniques that teachers use to ensure that their classroom runs smoothly without disruptive behavior from students. And also, it refers to the wide variety of skills and techniques that teachers use to keep students organized, orderly, focused, attentive, on task, and academically productive in the class. Now, while I was a student at the university back in those old good times, let's say, I always believed that classroom management had to do with kids being quiet in the classroom, doing nothing else, just focusing on what the teacher said, and that was it. But actually, classroom management is not only this. You have a well-managed classroom when you have quiet students, of course, but when you have a properly behaved classroom, properly behaved students who help you deliver your lesson, when your lesson has the results that you need it to have, when you have a clean classroom, a clear classroom, and a tidy classroom. So classroom management, and I would like to stress this because it's, well, actually, I think that a lot of people in the past, at least, used to think of classroom management like this, does not have to do only with peace and quiet in a classroom. After all, we should not forget that we have to deal with students, and students, well, it's natural that they make noise. The point is how you can ensure that you can turn this energy into being something positive for your classroom. So this is what classroom management means. And now, why should we care about classroom management? Why should we make sure that our classroom is managed well and properly? Research has shown us that teachers' actions in their classrooms have twice the impact on student achievement as do school policies regarding curriculum, assessment, staff collegiality, and community involvement. We also know that one of the classroom teachers' most important job is managing the classroom effectively. So no matter how well prepared and what a great policy, educational policy at Damas University has, if a professor does not manage his or her classroom properly, it won't give any benefits to the students. It's not a matter only of school or institutional policy. It also has to do with the qualities, abilities, and skill of each teacher who enters a classroom. So here are the tips for effective classroom management. Some of them are, while I did some research on it, but some of them come from personal advice and from the 20 years of experience I have with schools. We should set clear rules and stick to them. And this is very important because if you agree with your students on rules, you should not on any account deviate from one of them because, for example, your favorite student is Olivia. I'm sorry, I just saw your name here, Olivia, and you want to protect her. So, for example, if you say that if someone forgets their course book at home and they should next time bring as double as homework, I'm giving an example. I'm not saying that this is the correct way of punishing them, then you should stick to the rule so that you make sure that all your students understand that this is what they have to do in case they leave their textbook at home. If you deviate from a rule that you have set at the beginning of the year, it might confuse the students and it might lead to rebellion in a way, to not approval of your behavior, to disrespect. So make sure that you set clear rules and you decide the rules, you agree on the rules together with your students. They understand what is fair to them. They understand what is unfair to them and to you. So everyone is happy and satisfied. Set the learning goals. This should happen in order for you and for your students to avoid misunderstandings. So if you enter your classroom in the morning, you have to explain to your students that, hey class, good morning. Today we are going to learn about the differences, let's say, between simple present and present continuous. So in this way, you make sure that your students actually understand what you want to teach them and will focus better on your lesson. Come into the classroom always prepared. You see, I've always believed that students have this strange sixth sense. They can feel that you are a good person or a bad person. They can feel that you know a lot of things on your topic or not, and they can definitely smell your fear and your preparation. So if you come into the classroom always prepared with your worksheets, with your lesson plan, with clear goals in your mind, then no fear will be smelled around, no anxiety, no stress will circulate, and everyone will be happy. Remember that students may love you, may love teachers, but on the other hand, they can smell the fact that you are unprepared, and this will lead them to either disrespect you or me. I'm not blaming, anyone here, or they won't believe your goals and your rules. They won't be there for you. They need the teacher up here. They want the teachers to be their friends, but actually they want someone to facilitate them with their learning. So if you come into the classroom and think, okay, let's see, what are we going to do today? Shall we do this? Or maybe we should learn more about this. This is not correct. You go into the classroom always prepared and you know what things you are going to teach your students. Establish a class routine. It has to do with classroom management. It doesn't have to do necessarily with teaching and learning. For example, every day you may choose to have a different assistant in the classroom. Okay, today Bidisha will be, tomorrow Mary will be. So Bidisha will give out the notebooks that I have corrected, and the next day the other girl will bring them back. Make sure that your assistants will keep, let's say, the blackboard or the whiteboard clean. They are ready to bring you the necessary technical equipment you need, the CD player or a laptop you may need in the class, or turn on the projector, etc. Make sure that someone else keeps the classroom clean and tidy. So if you establish a class routine, everyone who comes into your classroom, they will feel, as if they are at home. They follow a routine and they won't be scared to think, okay, now what will happen in the next 5 minutes? They know every day that they have to start by doing this and this and this, clear-cut things. So if we do this and this and this, then we can go on with our learning, and then we can go on with a song, and then so on, so forth. A class routine does not necessarily mean, of course, that you have to tidy the classroom or you have to turn off the lights. It could mean, okay, before entering the class, we give a hug to each other. Or I saw a video on it. Choose the way that you want to greet me: a kiss, a hug, a handshake, a dance move, etc. this is class routine, or a class routine is at the end of the lesson, all the class should sing together our favorite song. So class routine makes students feel comfortable, makes students anticipate what will go on after it, and makes students happy. Engage your students. Students, we always keep saying that students must not be passive learners and must not be obedient in the negative way. They should be here all the time while setting the rules, while establishing the class routine, while deciding on a punishment that someone will receive because of bad behavior, let's say, while deciding which song should we learn for next week, etc. Engage your students, and I'm sure that the results will shock you in a good way. They are really eager to help you with anything you might ask them, despite their age. Even my young ones at the kindergarten, they keep, drawing something, and then they tell me, Miss, can I help you cut this? I know how to cut, and sometimes they really help me because they are very good at cutting. So engage your students, ask them, hey, class, would you like to learn this song today? And next week we can learn a song that you decide. Or hey, class, how about setting a set of rules at the beginning of the school year so that everyone is happy? Ask them, ask for their opinion. It matters to them. If you think that what they think sometimes is not really proper, you could discuss it with them, and you could try to make them understand that, okay, class, yes, I can see your point, George, but on the other hand, how about thinking of something else? They will still feel happy that you took their point of view in consideration, and then they will learn from you. They will start thinking in a different way, and they will get more mature. And if you engage your students, last but not least, they will never feel that this class is run by Miss Georgia. They will always think that this class is run by us, for us, and we are happy to be in this class. Create a positive classroom climate. You should praise all the time. You should give feedback. You should smile. You should tell jokes. I know that students can be really, really enervating sometimes because of problems they might have at home, because of learning disabilities they might face, because of the fact that you are boring as a teacher and they don't like you and they get bored. However, if you try and manage to create a positive classroom climate, things will change. Helen, you can't always shout at Helen because she doesn't understand the lesson or because she keeps forgetting her notebook. Sometimes Helen must do something good. She must have done something good. Maybe she has helped her best friend to tidy his desk. Well done, Helen. Thank you very much for helping me. Or Helen, could you please come here and help me with this? Create this positive classroom climate. Create the belief, make your students believe and understand and realize that you don't see them only as students, the good students and the bad students. You see them as people, little human beings, teenagers, because in this way they will understand that they are being recognized, they are being accepted as different personalities. Not all students, not even teachers, are perfect. There will be always good students and weak students. Let them feel your praise. Let them feel your recognition towards them. This is the meaning of creating a positive classroom climate, where everyone feels welcome, everyone feels happy being in your classroom. Establish a good relationship with your students. At school, I'm considered to be a really strict teacher. You may see me smiling now, but sometimes when I get angry, I start shouting at students. I have never received complaints from them. I'm not saying that this is always a good way, you know, of managing your classroom. But on the other hand, they do understand that, hey, Miss Georgia got angry because, well, we were noisy. She should have shouted. On the other hand, as soon as the lesson is over and we are out on a break, if I see, for example, George being a bit sad, or Mary have a very good haircut, I will always go and tell them, hey, George, what's wrong? Why are you sad? What happened? Or Mary, great look, your new haircut. Try to see them, as I said before, as people, human beings. It's different when you are in the classroom, and it's different when you're out on breaks. And, you know, even if I shove them in the class, they do come out in the breaks and, Miss, will you come to my party? I never go to birthday parties, of course, of my students, although I want to, but anyway, policy. Miss, would you like a sticker from my collection? No matter how trivial these little things may seem to you, they are really important for students. And I speak having in mind young students. I teach students from the age of 4 to the age of 12. Teenage students are, I would say, a bit more difficult at teaching. And this happens because they do have problems that are related with their teenage years. They start thinking different things. They fall in love. They have arguments with their family all the time. They must know that you are there for them as a person, not as a teacher. That no matter how bad you are, how weak you are a student in the classroom, I will be there for you as a friend, as a teacher. So establish a good relationship with your students, and you will be happy that you have done it, because we are here at schools not only to educate students, you know, in terms of maths, English, language, etc. We are here because we want to help our students grow and become better people to the society and prepared for what the future holds for them. And last but not least, I think is my last point, this one in this slide, remember your human nature. I told before that students have this weird sixth sense that they do understand when you're happy and when you're sad. Don't try to hide it from them. They will stand there for you. They will come during the breaks at Miss, are you okay now? How are you feeling? Remember that you are a teacher.
I'm sorry, I think Debolina Rao, will you please unmute yourself? Sorry, mute yourself kindly, Debolina Rao. I'm sorry for the intervention, ma'am.
That's okay. That's why I stopped.
Will you please mute yourself?
Okay,
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So
sorry, ma'am.
That's okay. So remember your human nature. You have already established the fact that you're a teacher and you stand here, and your students should stand there because they need to stand here. They need to see a leader, a facilitator for their learning. However, they should always realize and remember that you are human. You're not a robot. And this means that you might make mistakes. And this may lead you to ask for forgiveness. Oh, I'm sorry, George. Okay, I know I made a mistake today. Please apologize. Accept my apologies. Or, I don't know how to pronounce this word, children. I'll check on it and I will let you know tomorrow. You can't possibly know everything. You can't possibly be a person without making mistakes. Accept the fact that you are human, and accept the fact that your students understand you. Don't try to act, as a person without a face, as a teacher, as a robot. You are there, you're a teacher, but you're also a person. So, classroom management. You should be proactive and not reactive. What this means is this. Be proactive means that you keep in mind the fact that you have a class of 20 students, let's say, half of which are boys and half of which are girls. Half of the boys are quite noisy, half of the girls are quite shy. If you know your class in advance, you can understand what problems you might need to face. So you have to be proactive. You have to keep in mind a plan beforehand and think of the solutions that will help you overcome these difficulties. If you try to react to a situation, this won't be successful all the time. And don't forget, if we try to react without having a plan, it will it will make teachers become more angry sometimes, more irrational. It may lead us to some irrational behavior, let's say, immature behavior towards our students, and this is something that we will regret it later. So remember, in order to properly manage our classroom, we should be proactive and not reactive. And because a picture is worth 1,000 words, I'm coming to the picture later. I'd like you to try these techniques I have already told you and add your own experience and intuition. Why? Well, today I spoke to you as Georgia, a Georgia who has been teaching in primary schools for 20 years. A Georgia who started teaching in kindergartens this year. A Georgia who taught in vocational schools for 2 years and things were difficult for her. But it was this experience and these techniques that helped me. And it was also my intuition. I believe that everyone who has accepted to be a teacher is because they love teaching, they love students, and they are intuitive. So if you come in a class at the beginning of the school year, and you sit with your students for 1 or 2 teaching hours, I'm sure you will learn them. You will see their weaknesses. You will learn their strong points. So you will definitely find the ways to manage your classroom effectively. So yes, it's good to hear someone who is speaking about, let's say, classroom management, but also use your own experience and intuition. We all here have different experiences from different classrooms, from different societies, from different cities, from different continents. You are in Asia, I come from Europe, from different family backgrounds, from different educational backgrounds. What helps us do our job properly is the fact that we help each other, we share experiences with each other, and we use our intuition and our own experiences. Remember that. No one can tell you do this and it will, it will do you good and it's the right thing to do. No one. Take the things that you want to take, keep the things that work for your classroom, and go on. So if you try these techniques and add your own experience and intuition, I'm sure that your classroom will look like this. No bored students, happy students, engaged students. I'm sorry for the analysis of the picture. This is the only one I liked. And all your students will be waiting for you, for your lesson, and for the new things to learn. In my presentation, I have included some useful articles and videos. You click on them, it's it's a clickable link. So I will share the link as soon as I stop sharing. And I would like to thank you because you have been such a great audience, really quiet. And I'm here for your questions. So I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a very beautiful presentation. Thank you. It was enriching. It was really illuminating at the same time, because usually we give more preference to instructional techniques, transactions, But we never have this sort of an idea that if a teacher knows how to manage the classroom properly, if the teacher knows the classroom management properly, then this can be automatically developed. I personally think so. So I don't know how much correct I am, but that was
I
indeed a
think you are really
beautiful.
correct.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was beautiful presentation. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. So I've shared the link to my presentation in case you need to have a look at it. I don't know if there are any questions. I told you that my presentation would be short and to the point. I don't like talking all the time.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. With all your due permission, I would like to take questions if there are any from our participants.
Sure.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and directly ask to ma'am. Is there anyone? I'm sorry. Is there anyone? You can also raise your hand, no issues.
While we're waiting, I would like to say that there are some answers in the first slide I asked. What does classroom management mean to you? And
Sure,
they talked
ma'am,
about
sure.
student interaction, encouraging interaction, managing the attention, and efficient teaching. So yeah, more or less, attendants understood what classroom management is actually. So yes, really well. Such a quiet audience, or maybe I was too boring, or maybe I was too clear.
No, ma'am, it's absolutely not. It was really a beautiful presentation. Okay, we have one question.
Yeah, that's a difficult question.
Okay, I would, if you permit me, I would like to dictate it for you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. Okay, it's a question from Parvez Hassan. What should a teacher do when the classroom management techniques he or she uses clashes with the institution's policy? Yeah, over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, you can see my facial expression now. All right, I have to admit that so far, for the 20 years I have been teaching and working, I've never had problems with institution policy. However, I believe that everything can be solved when you discuss problems and potential improvements to the institution policy with the managers of the institution and with the board of the educational organization, let's say. I know that unfortunately, especially for educators who work in privately run institutions, this is not very easy. However, I would suggest that you discuss it in a more detailed way with the board and suggest possible ways that you can improve this classroom management. You could suggest some ways, or you could invite them in your classroom and see how you work in better conditions, and then most probably they will understand that what techniques you use help you deliver your lesson in a more appropriate and effective way. However, I do recognize the difficulty in this situation, especially for when it has to do with privately run institutions. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. If you permit me, I'll ask one. Ma'am, what happens during classroom management? It becomes, especially for the trainee teachers like us, we are actually pursuing our B.Ed. So a little problem regarding attention catch-up, like how to seek the attention of the students. So can you please share some tips or anything? It would be really great, ma'am.
Okay. Well, it depends on the age of students that you have. For the younger ones, you could start by asking them to do some physical exercise. Okay, everyone, stand up, clap your hands, sit down, stand up, let's do some exercise, let's wake up, let's blah, blah, blah. And then primary school. Okay, stand up, let's start singing a song. Or I can start singing a song and they follow. So you give them 2 to 3, let's say 5 minutes to, get some rest from your lesson, and I'm sure they will catch up again. For older students, teenage students who are quite difficult, as I said before, because they do have their own problems and they do have problems with the authority around them, etc. You could just say, class, okay, let's talk about something else that interests you. Have you heard about what happened, let's say, in Ukraine? Oh no, miss, could you tell us more? Okay, who thinks that the war is a thing that should be done, etc. Maybe then you could catch their attention to something different, to something that interests them more. And then as soon as you have their attention, okay, class, can we go on for just 5 more minutes so that I can finish my lesson, and then we can go back to the topic of war. So there are tips, but I will say that, for example, these tips work for my classes, for my classroom. I don't know if Bidisa has a different classroom. She or all of you must know your class really well so that you know what tips will work. However, with the young ones, try to make them physically, alert, and they will get back to you, definitely. I have a question, Bidisa, if you can dictate it for me.
Definitely, ma'am, definitely. But before that, thank you so much for your lovely tips. I'll try my best to implement them. Yeah, definitely. Of course, we have a different classroom. So thank you so much for that, ma'am. Okay, there's a question from Meeta Chakraborty. How I maintain a slow learner and a good learner properly while educating in a classroom?
Okay, I would suggest differentiation between the activities. If someone is a slow learner, make sure that they understand what you teach them in an easier and more convenient way for them. For example, let's say about alphabet, and few words that I teach to my year 2 students. I could give, let's say, 2 words each time for the good learners and only 1 for the slow learner. In this way, first of all, the slow learner will feel better because they have managed something, even if it was just for 1 word. And maybe later they will start wanting to learn some more, to do something more difficult, etc. However, I must stress the fact here that a slow learner can never be made to, can never be changed, be transformed, let's say, into a fast learner. We don't have magic wands. We have, as I have already said, strong students and weak students. We should go with their own pace of learning, not leave them out, but make sure they feel wanted, they feel self-confident to the point that they can. So you may not be able to have all your students at the same level in the classroom. However, make sure that you keep them engaged, even with different types of activities, especially made for their level and abilities. I hope I have answered.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much to all the participants as well. And please be careful because feedback form would be shared shortly. Thank you so much again to Georgia Maneta, ma'am, for your admirable lecture. Now I would like to call our Professor Abhishek Bhattacharya for his. I would like to call Professor Abhishek Banerjee for a Thanksgiving session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bidisha. So now we have arrived to the end of the session. To begin with the vote of thanks, first I would like to thank our Honorable Professor Somit Ray, Chancellor of Adamas University, India, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Dipendra Kumar Jha, Vice Chancellor of Admas University, India, for their continuous support and I would like to share my heartiest gratitude to our Dr. Shauli Mukherjee, Director, School of Education, Admas University, India, for her eternal supervision and assistance. I would like to thank Dr. Prathita Biswas, our Honorable HOD Madam, for her continuous support. Then I'd like to thank all my colleagues who had helped us to make this session a successful one. And on behalf of School of Education, Admas University, once again, I wish to express our gratitude and ardent thanksgiving to our honorable guest and an international resource person, Ms. Georgia Manetta, for her precious time and for illuminating us with her very useful topic, that is classroom management, the why and how. At the last, I would like to express my thanks to all my students who are there in the session and all the participants as well to be present and make this session a successful one. We will look forward for this type of session in near future. Thank you everyone and have a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for having me here today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really a nice session. And thank you so much, my joint coordinator, Mr. Abhishek Banerjee. And also thanks to Vidisha for nicely moderating the session. With all due permission of Director ma'am and HOD ma'am, I'm just completing the session. I'm ending up this session. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. And with due permission of yours, I'm just ending the session for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a nice session to interact with you. And we'll look forward for more sessions like this in future too, ma'am.
Why not? We can arrange. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you to all the participants. And thank you to Vidisha for being an excellent moderator today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was great interacting with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And on behalf of Team SOE, I'm ending up this session for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.